Hello all, it's Tom from Tom's Honest Tips. Today's video is about the Alienware AW2724DM. Now this monitor is an almost $230-ish monitor, and to me, it's a pretty affordable monitor, especially considering the specs of the monitor itself. I think it makes it all the more enticing. Let's go over it in more detail. The monitor uses a fast IPS panel with an aspect ratio of 16:9 and a screen resolution of 2560x1440. This monitor, being 27 inches in size, demands a pretty sharp display, especially if you're using it for gaming. 1440p is, I think, the bare minimum resolution of anything above 24 inches. This should give you a sharper and clearer picture overall, regardless of what it is you're doing, but that's just my opinion. The fast IPS panel is, well, it's really just an IPS panel, but with lower response times, which makes it really good if combined with a high refresh rate and a high screen resolution, because it just makes everything feel more crisp and more responsive. With all that said, let's talk about the actual performance of the monitor. This monitor has a refresh rate of 165Hz. That's more than enough for competitive games and for all other games, and of course, for all other uses, provides a much smoother and more fluid experience. But it should be noted that this monitor only does 165Hz over a DisplayPort connection, while the HDMI 2.1 maxes out at 144Hz. You can, however, overclock this monitor to max out at 180Hz over a DisplayPort connection. If you ask me, I don't think the few extra hertz would matter much for gaming, but it's there if you need it for whatever reason. Screen tearing is honestly not that big of an issue, but I suppose it does kind of get annoying when you see it. Thankfully, this monitor has AMD FreeSync Premium Pro and NVIDIA G6 support, which will help with that. Now, when it comes to response times, they're pretty low. Regular IPS response times usually average around 5-ish milliseconds, but with fast IPS, that figure drops down to around 2 to 4 milliseconds on average. It might not be a huge improvement, but let's say you're a super duper competitive esports gamer, it might as well be life or death. Now let's take a moment to talk about color accuracy, something that some of you might find important for content creation or for professional uses, or if you're just really picky about color accuracy. This monitor covers about 95% of the DCI-P3 gamut, which is pretty good. If you do a lot of color critical work, then this monitor should prove to be sufficient. It can't get any better than that. Or, well, maybe you could. I mean, 95% is not exactly 100%, but it's still pretty good, and you won't really find yourself asking for more. Now I'm gonna go quickly over the ports before I talk about the design of the monitor. There are 2 USB Type-A ports, 1 USB Type-B port, 1 HDMI 2.1 port, and 2 DisplayPort 1.4 ports. Now, the design. I have some strong feelings towards it. The stand is a bit too chunky. It's a little too curvy. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Now, personally, I would 100% recommend using a monitor arm for this, just because it makes it so much better and you get extra real estate on your desk which would otherwise have been taken up by the stand. To the front, however, it just looks like a normal monitor. No extra fancy designs, 3 sides of the bezels are quite thin, and those are the top and side bezels. The bottom bezel is a little thick. I wish they made it just a bit thinner, like, yeah, I get it, whoa. Alienware, but it's just a tad bit intrusive, in my opinion. Anyhow, if you think this monitor is the right one for you, why don't you first leave a like and a sub, and if you're interested, you can click on the links in the description below or scan these QR codes. I really suggest getting a monitor arm, but you don't have to unless you really wanna as well. It's Tom, thanks for watching, have a good day.